He rejected. So it was 3310.
Yeah, D buildings.
He rejected.
Yeah, maybe
It was 30. Yeah, it was probably rejected. Yeah, it was probably what is sitting to be done?
There was one for sewer that was sitting to be done.
I don't know about the sewer. Who did the job? Who did the job in front of the
Plumbing experts.
Is that James Murray?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. So what's the one you did the work on? The one, the emergency breakout.
Yeah, that was domestic water.
You haven't gotten a permit.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a permit on.
What's your permit? Let's come outside. Hey, that's what I'm.
Ready? Okay, good. Good afternoon and welcome to the Code Enforcement Board. Regular meeting on Tuesday, April 12th at 1 p.m. Could you please silence your cell phones? And Ms. Thompson, please call the roll.
Member Perlman? Member Tribini?
Here.
Member LaSorsa?
Here.
Member Murray?
Here by Zoom.
Member Axelrod?
Yeah.
Chairperson Slam?
Here.
And Member Perlow is not here. And we also have Town Attorney Rubin
Here.
and Jason Mango is here.
Okay. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
justice for all. Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved. So moved.
Vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see. Here. Swearing in of the public. For those giving testimony related to the case you're affiliated with, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn. Ms. Thompson, please swear in those giving testimony.
By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Now we have public comments limited to 3 minutes per speaker. If anyone would like to make a comment, you can step up there and have your 3 minutes. 3 minutes of fame. Okay. No one. Approval of minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes of March 9th, 2022? Didn't we already approve those minutes?
That'll be last month's meeting.
Okay, are there any corrections? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes March 9th, 2022?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unfinished business, there is none. So now we're on a new business. First case is case number CC 2021-11-006. Robert L. Zucker Jr. at 2917 South Ocean Boulevard. That's the Trafalgar of Highland Beach condos. And the violation observed was a bathroom remodel without permit. Do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose?
No.
At this time, I now open a violation hearing. I turn this over to Staff Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco for testimony and recommendations regarding the violation.
This permit has been, this property has been brought into compliance since the notice of hearing. So this case is now closed.
Okay, well, in that case, this is dismissed, closed. And need a motion? Close it, okay. We'll move on to case number CC 2022-02010. That's Gunther Bowerman. 4019 South Ocean Boulevard. This violation was a change, an AC change out without a permit. Do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose? At this time, I now open the violation hearing and turn it over to Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco.
Permits have been issued for this job as well by the AC contractor. So this case is now closed.
Great. It's 2 down. Next, we have CC 2022-02-003. That's the Ambassador East condominium. And the violation observed was drywall repair from water damage throughout the building performed without a permit. Do the board members have any ex parte communications in this case? At this time, I now open a violation hearing, turn it over to Staff Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco.
Thank you very much. For the record, Jason Manco, Code Inspector, Town of Highland Beach. Case number 2022-02-003. Address is 3221 South Ocean Boulevard, Highland Beach, Florida 33487. Before you, I've submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on February 9th, 2022, and most recently, April 12th, 2022. On February 9th, the property was inspected and the following violations were discovered. Observed drywall repair from water damage throughout the building performed without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. On February 10th, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Ambassador East Condo. Service was obtained by posting at the property address on March 30th, 2022. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. As of today, no permit has been applied for and the violation remains. Towns recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation and be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance, which was March 9th, 2022, and until the property is brought into compliance. Town is asking to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 as well. Thank you.
Can I ask?
Does the board have any questions for staff?
Yes. When you say drywall repairs,
Mhm.
I mean, it says throughout the building? Are
Yes.
they all little tiny patches?
So yes, there were some holes poked through. There was water damage throughout, and there were holes poked in common areas in the condominium unit. When you have a hole poked in there, it's breaching a firewall,
Ah,
right? So there's certain ratings for all the, so anytime you breach
a
firewall in a threshold building in a common area, you're
You can't just put a piece of tape over it.
correct.
Mike, did they have water remediation and mold remediation?
I don't know the extent of what the remediation work was. I think it was maybe, to just reduce moisture and check for mold. I think it was the root cause was like a water heater, I think that went. So I don't know the extent of the other work they did, but I just observed, holes in the common area and in units, which, as small as it may be, requires a permit.
For firewalls, yes.
Did you talk to any of the building management about this issue?
Yes.
And what was their response?
The building manager's here, his response that they were going to, get a permit for it. So, you can speak.
That dates back to
Speak direct,
February
yeah.
9th, correct?
What's that?
That dates back to February 9th, I believe you said?
Correct,
So it is now almost 2 months,
correct,
and they still have not gotten the permit.
correct.
Is it actively been applied for? No.
No, there's been no permit applied yet.
Maybe would this gentleman like to explain why?
Yeah, well, that's coming now. The offender we have the manager, building manager from the ambassador?
Yes.
Okay, would you like to give testimony? Provide your name and affiliation.
My name is Jonathan Merrigan. I'm the property manager over at Ambassadors East. So when this issue happened, it was 16 units. We did have mold and water remediation, which they did drill all these holes in the lower parts of multiple units and in some of the hallways. We did try to get it fixed initially, but there were some complications with the board changing hands and whatnot. We do have at this time that we do have a signed contract and the permits are being applied for right now. They should actually be in by the end of today or tomorrow.
What took so long to get the permit?
They were trying to pick the correct contractor. Also, there was some confusion about whether they had to cut out 2 feet of the wall to replace these just these tiny holes in it. I think it had to do with the integrity of the sheetrock.
Okay. But you guys started working on this, doing all this work in the drywall before you applied for the permit, correct?
We didn't do any work on the drywall,
You didn't do any work on the drywall,
not that I'm aware of.
I understand this.
you do?
Yeah, when you have water damage, you have to cut 2 feet of the drywall up. If they didn't have to do it, they had to determine whether they had to do it. That's why if they had a mold remediation company come in, they would have to have direction first. So
Right.
they
Right.
couldn't apply for a permit for when they didn't know what to do yet.
And this contractor actually came in here recently. I think it was probably Thursday or Friday of last week to figure out exactly what needed to be done to correct it. Because we did get a few different answers, not from
Yeah.
Jason or anybody, but there were, everybody thinks they're an engineer and nobody could figure out exactly how it needed to be done. So when he went down here and he asked exactly what needed to be done, we signed the contract with him. I have it here.
So the
And
permit is in now?
he should be applying for it either today. If it's not in already, it could be in already.
It's a process to know
Yeah.
what to do. That's what the problem is.
I mean, there is some emergent situations here that had to be taken care of.
Well, that was, once the water stopped, there's
Right.
no more emergency, but in
Well,
order to remediate, they have to have a plan. They can't just start work.
Also, as I said, there's some contention between certain people in the building with other people, and some of them didn't want to let us in their units. They were combative about it, even though they had the damage in there. Some of them wanted their own contractors to fix it. And, it was 16 units, 16 different personalities, making the whole situation way, way more complicated than it needed to be. But now we do have a signed contract and they are putting in for the permits. They
Question.
said if they
to,
haven't
uh,
already. I'm sorry, God.
To Jason.
Oh.
Is this incorrectly stated in here? They didn't do any repair work on the walls. They made holes in the walls to check for the thing. So it shouldn't be stated they started repairing it. They were
Correct.
Checking. So it
Correct.
should not be that they were told to get a permit.
So according to the building official, so now certainly if there's emergency work that needs to be done, we grant 24 hours for permit to be applied. This was already passed, that the work was already done. This was brought to my attention long after the work was done. So in that sense, right, we do grant emergency permits where if you have to do something immediately to mediate the problem, you can apply for a permit within 24 hours. That's not the case here. Furthermore, the work that we're describing is breaching the drywall assembly. So once it's breached, and this is, the building official, he's not here today. He's going to be back in later in the week. So he could, if you wanted to, hear it from him, but he considers this a breach of the firewall and it needs a permit. So it can be, because if somebody just sticks some spackle back on it, I'm not the expert on this. It's not rated for, fire protection. So a couple issues there is, the work itself, the work is considered breaching the firewall, and then there would be an opportunity for a 24-hour emergency permit, but this is not the case with this situation. Yes,
So no work to bring the firewall back to its rating was done.
there was some
Oh, there
work.
was
Yes,
some.
yes, there was patched drywall in
So
there.
who did that work? Because
Uh,
if you got 16 different units all fighting about who's going to do the work, do you need 16 permits?
That I don't know. That would be a decision for the building official, how the permits are issued. It could be an HOA permit if it's, I don't know how they work that out. That's a civil matter over who issues a permit, but I'm concerned about the common area.
Right. And that goes into every unit if it's a firewall.
Correct.
And if you have the guy that's saying that the work needs to be done at this point, how come it wasn't determined before that the unit owners would be cooperative? Because the condo is responsible for everything from the paint in. So I don't understand how they can fight with you.
It's not that they were fighting.
Here, come up to the mic.
It's not that they were fighting directly with me. I have
No,
no
not
issue
you.
with it.
I meant,
They were fighting with that they didn't want certain contractors in their units. For whatever reason, there's some internal issue with a couple of them that we had chosen. Ones that are used in the building often, but maybe something was off by a quarter of an inch on some work they did in their unit. And then that one person talked to a whole bunch of other people about it. and they just made it difficult for us to get into those units to do the work.
I'm guessing that's why you're here. One of those disgruntled people probably dropped a dime, right?
Exactly
Yeah.
what it was. Yes, it was.
So the permit that you're applying for, is it on behalf of all
Yes.
16 units?
Yeah, we're just taking care of the whole, once they came by and said something, I had spoken to the board. I said, we have to move this up and get this done very quickly. And he said, let's just pull a permit for the whole thing. Nobody goes their separate ways and we'll just deal with, it's not a lot of work. I mean, it's under $5,000. It's not a lot of work.
Jesus.
Under 5 now?
It's nothing. It's just, they're like pinholes this big, you know?
They were mostly inspection holes.
They were all inspection
Yeah,
holes. That's all it
that's it.
was. I mean, they were punching holes to get into to see if there was going to be any mold issues behind the wall and whatnot. And that's it.
Okay, this is the time for us to deliberate. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Um,
Do you want
do we
comments
have,
from us?
well, you know, we could just, what? Sure.
Can you just, is there any way I can get till the end of tomorrow to make sure that this permit is in?
Explain to him what our first choice is here, so it solves the problem for what he's asking.
Yeah.
Basically, what's
we're-
gonna happen is, if we choose to, you're gonna have 30 days to get
Okay.
a permit.
I wouldn't need that, but
I
sure.
understand that, but that would be the one. Jason, is that what you're recommending?
No.
Well, all right. So the town is asking for retroactive to the date of compliance.
Okay,
You know, you guys are free to, you know, choose whatever you're appropriate, but I'm, you know, on behalf of the town, I'm recommending that it's so I can repeat my motion just for the
Yeah,
record. Town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation and be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance, which was March 9th, 2022, until the property is brought into compliance.
Oh.
Town is asking to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 as well.
I have to say this, as a member of a condo board, I can understand what goes on sometimes with dealing with residents. And my feeling would be, give him the 30 days with the 250, you know, number one, the 30 days with the $250, not charge him equivalent of.
He doesn't need 30 days. He's gonna have it by tomorrow,
That's what I'm
the
saying.
end of the day.
But that what Jason is saying is we have to now give him, charge him up to from March 9th, which I don't see that.
I'm not, you know. I would just, I'm not making a motion,
No.
but I would just,
Can I make it?
One
I'd
other
like to make a
question, one other
motion.
question I have
Okay,
for
Mike.
Jason.
Yes, sir.
Did they put, you said this is a result, he said there was a result of a water heater leak.
Mhm.
Did they replace that water heater
Yes,
with a
with a
permit?
Yes. Yeah, that's a non-issue.
Thank you.
That was a resident, that was a different entity. That was an owner that handled that.
I think, I don't know how to make this motion. My motion would be they just paid a $250 fine and then have 30 days to get the
That's
permit.
number
cost
one.
of
That's number
prosecution.
one over there.
Which one is it?
Number one.
Well,
Oh, no,
It's
should
a
be number two,
violation.
Number
violation,
3.
but correct it.
All
Friday.
right, I move the respondent be found in violation of
Number
town
three.
code and alleged in notice violation that he, she, they be ordered to comply within 30 days and be fined
$250.
$250 a day for each day violation remains after the date set for compliance and assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 by the date set for compliance. So they're going to pay the town fee, and then if they don't get the permit, they'll pay.
Right. That's the motion.
that's the motion. Is there a second?
That's it.
All those in favor, say aye.
Just
Sorry,
gonna
we
roll
need to do a
call.
Oh, wait.
call.
Oh, roll call,
Yes.
sorry.
We always.
Member La Sorsa,
Aye.
Member Turbini. Member Perlman.
Yes.
Member Murray,
yes.
Member Axelrod,
Yes,
and Chairperson Slam.
Yes,
Motion carries.
okay. Um, D. Case number CC 2022-02-008. This is violation was observed plumbing work without permit at the Seagate Club. Do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose? At this time, I open the violation hearing, turn it over to Staff Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manco.
This case is closed. Property's been brought into compliance.
Great. Next case. CC 2022-02-010, Leonard Agostino. That's at the Monterey House. Violation was observed removal of bathroom ceiling without permit. Are there any ex parte communications to disclose by the members? At this time, I open the violation hearing, turn it over to Code Enforcement Officer Manco.
Thank you. Jason Manco, Code Compliance Inspector, Town of Highland Beach. Case number 2022-02-010, address is 3114 South Ocean Boulevard, Unit 811, Highland Beach, Florida 33487. I have submitted the following evidence: proof of service, supporting documents, and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on February 22nd, 2022, and most recently, April 12th, 2022. On February 22nd, the property was inspected and the following violations were discovered. Observed removal of bathroom ceiling and drywall performed without a permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. On February 22nd, 2022, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Leonard and Rebecca Agostino. Service was obtained by certified mail and by posting at the property address on March 30th, 2022. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. As of today, no permits have been applied for and the violation remains. Town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation and be fined $250 per day for each day that the violation remains after the date set for compliance, which was April 11th, 2022, until the property is brought into compliance. Town is asking to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 as well.
Okay, so does the board have any questions for staff?
Do they live here?
Yes,
So they live in the unit?
yes.
And they're not here.
And how did you get access to get the pictures?
He let me in the front door.
You know, it's funny. I want to be like easygoing, but he lives here and he had until the 11th. I'm beside myself. I don't know what to say. He was cooperative with you, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't get the permit application yet, right?
Yeah, I don't know why he's not here today. I maybe he just doesn't want to deal with it, but I don't know. He's aware. I've spoken with him. Maybe he feels he doesn't have to get one. But it's again,
feels
this
he
is the
doesn't
same
have to get one?
situation when you're in a multifamily residence and you start removing drywall and now you have, breaches in a engineered fire system.
Well, that don't look like a fire system because you got cement ceiling and that's an interior walls.
Yeah, but it's adjoined to another unit. There's another unit on the side. I don't know what's behind that wall exactly. I am not a structural inspector, but I know you cannot remove.
Are you saying this fourth picture is a party wall?
Let's see.
Because it looks like it's a chase wall, so it could be a party wall.
I can tell you that the entire bathroom ceiling was removed and at least one of the walls was adjacent to the adjoining unit,
Right.
as well as the top of the unit itself.
Yeah, this guy needs a permit.
By 3/8, so he was supposed to comply by March 8th, correct?
No,
So-
April
So
11th.
I'll explain
April
that. So
11th.
the original notice of violation was mailed to him. And it was returned to sender. So I posted a second notice on the property. And I extended the deadline to the April 11th. In that time, when I returned, when I got his notice of violation returned for the return to sender, it had already gone past the original comply by date. So the court date was already issued. So the notice of hearing was already issued. So I simply just posted another one, gave him another deadline till before the hearing. So if he had it done by yesterday, then the case would have been closed, but it still have not had an application for permit, let alone an approval.
What are you asking for?
We're asking just, again, from the date that we requested compliance, which was yesterday.
Right.
Okay, so, and continuing forward until the property. is brought
$250 a
into
day?
compliance.
Yeah.
$250 a day.
Yeah, but he also contacted this guy, met with him. The guy knows. I
Yeah.
mean, this is the only time that I'm ever like thinking you should get 250 a day.
Yeah.
Was there a contractor working on this site when you were there?
There was somebody there. I was not able to get their information. But I didn't get a contractor name. I don't think he was a contractor. Licensed contractor.
Jason, that return to sender letter, was that because he did not accept the
I
certified
do
letter?
not know. I do not know.
This
I
is a
think that was-
house,
it went to the
right?
correct address, though.
It's a condominium.
Which condo is it?
3114 South Ocean Boulevard.
Oh, okay. It doesn't have a name.
Says Monterey House.
It's Monterey House.
That's the
probably.
Monterey House?
Excuse me.
It's the second one at the
Oh, he
Monterey
needs
House.
An electrical contractor, an air conditioning contractor, and a structural contractor. Plus he needs some insulation. All right, I'm gonna make a motion. I move the respondent be found in violation of town code as alleged notice violation. And that they be ordered to apply within 30 days. Up to $250 a day, starting on April 11th.
Okay, so I'll make it a little
Did I say it
easier
right?
for you. No.
Retroactive.
So I
Yeah.
knew this was coming. If Mr. Axelrod, if you take one and pass them down. So I added a new number 6. So because what you're,
Oh.
in these cases, and it was kind of hastily, I might make them a little easier for you.
Yeah. sorry.
In these cases, no, it's fine, Jason. In these cases, you're essentially requiring them to comply immediately and the fine's going to go back before the hearing. This time it's only a day, but it
So
could be.
number
something.
6,
So it'd be number 6.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
should I reread it?
Yeah, if you would, I appreciate it.
I move that the respondents be found in violation of town code as alleged in the notice of violation and that they be ordered to comply immediately. And that a fine of $250 per day be assessed starting as of April 11th.
And 250.
Until
Until the
the prop-
property is brought into compliance and assessed prosecution costs in the amount of $250 for the code enforcement.
Yeah, and payable within 30
Payable
days.
within 30 days.
You got to set a deadline. Perfect. Thank you, Mr.
So this one's
Sorry,
moot
sir.
now.
Well, no. It
It's
depends.
addition.
So I believe the town, look, 90% of the cases are building permits. So
Mhm.
I think the town is trying to be a little more assertive in making sure people start complying with obtaining their permits before they start doing work.
Okay,
My
so we have a
question is the
motion.
my
Do we have
my
a,
question is the compliance date, to be honest.
do
with
we
you.
have a second on his motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, roll call.
Member La Sorsa,
Yes.
Member Turbini,
Yes.
Member Murray,
Yes.
Member Axelrod.
Yes,
Member Perliman
Yes.
and Chairperson Slam.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right.
What happened to the group we had out there? They left?
Time for some announcements. April 14th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. There's a planning board regular meeting. April 19th, 2022 at 1:30 at 1:30 PM, there's a town commission meeting. And on May 10th, 2022, at 1 PM, there is our next code enforcement meeting. So put that in your calendars, May 10th at 1 PM. And make sure I have it. May. Oh, I didn't have it. There being no further business to come before the board, the meeting is adjourned at 1:34 PM.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'm gonna be out of town on that. I'll send you an email.
Really?